Welcome to the Blind Zone, where curiosity brings its own rewards. And what am I curious about today? I'm curious how my robust prayer life fell into tepid, wishy washy, watered down, almost non existent. And when I realized this, or how I found this out, was a couple days ago. I had a friend text me and say, "Could you please continue to pray for?" And she, quoted the thing that I was supposed to pray for. And it dawned on me that I had been praying for this person in this incident months and months before. And I thought the problem was resolved. So, I logically thought it out, set it down, and didn't pick it back up again. And then I thought about, in the interim between the time I last stopped praying and now, how much the problem had escalated. And that had I continued to pray on this person's behalf and about this subject, how much would have changed. And a lot of people who don't believe in the power of prayer, they would have said nothing would have changed. It would have just gone on like it was. But I don't believe that, because I do pray because I believe in the power of prayer. So what I find really interesting about this is many months ago, the Holy Spirit said, "I want you to go deeper in your prayer life." But instead of doing that, I kind of went deeper into the knowledge side of it. I started reading books, and we've talked about this before in the Blind Zone, where Dee said, "Well, what about just praying?" And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy. I need to read and learn more things." Excuse me. But what ultimately happened is I did not even notice the disconnect. Now, I do have to say this on my behalf. I've been on the treadmill every day for a number of months now, and while I'm on the treadmill is my time of prayer. The only thing I do on the treadmill now is pray. So I was doing that. So it's not like I went from being a robust prayer warrior to not even invoking the name of the Lord on behalf of others. But I thought of a song immediately that came to my mind, and it was by that country singer, and it's "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, Look Full in His Wonderful Face." And I had rewrote that song. Instead of "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus," it was like, take my eyes off of Christ and look around at this horrible place. And so what I decided, after some prayer, and I know that sounds funny because I'm complaining about not praying enough, but after some time of prayer, I realized that the problem was in my distractibility, that I was looking around, and instead of looking to Christ, the only one who can fix or solve any of these problems, I was looking around and I was so distracted by what I saw. And when people talk about political struggles or cultural things or racial things or any other thing, you have to know, if you boil that all down and boil it all back to the essence, it's a spiritual warfare. And I had fallen into the trap of believing that by knowledge, I would gain more wisdom to learn how to pray better. But for me, it was just a form of legalism, that if I could just read more, I would do more. But again, the Bible's clear, and Paul says in his letter, the spirit is willing, but the flesh was weak. And even looking back, I think about when I could have been reading some solid theology, I often fell into just reading something to take up time. So I would like to tell you that I'm vowing to do better. But again, that's only my own human attempt, my own fleshly attempt to pull my own bootstraps up, dig in deeper, work harder, and that's not going to get it. I need to be deliberate and dedicated and start just praying more. Because the only one who can change me is the Spirit. And that's the only one who can grow me, who can draw me closer to Him. And so all of my self-help, my do it more, better thinking isn't going to get me anywhere. So I've decided that the curiosity for me was going from robust to tepid. But once you recognize it, once you know something, you can be better because of your knowledge. So that's it. I was curious how I went from one thing to another. I recognized the distractions that drew me there. And I want to go back to singing the song, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, Look Full in His Wonderful Face. So through the power of the Spirit and with the dedication that I am now going to go back to with my prayer life, I will be once again the robust prayer warrior that everybody's always known me to be. And I've apologized. I've asked for forgiveness for getting off topic and walking sideways instead of straight. And it happened little by little, increment by increment. And had the curiosity not been poked in me to wonder what happened, I don't think I would have ever explored this. And it would have been quite a while later until I recognized this issue. So, again, thank you for coming along on the curiosity train today. And it's taken a turn right back into the where it's supposed to be. And I've learned something, and I hope you have too. So, again, we'll see you next week on The Blind Zone, where curiosity brings its own reward.